Hey guys, welcome to the new video. In this video, we are going to discuss what is static listener in Oracle database and what are its common use cases and how to configure it. Okay, so coming straight to the point, the word static listener you usually come across when you are going to build a standby database. And when you're building standby database, there are multiple ways in which you can build a standby database. Okay, let me list it out for you. First one is if you're backing up using rman and the backups are in tape, so you can it doesn't matter what is the backup destination, be it tape or disk, you can restore using rman backups present in tape or disk. Okay, this is one way. And the next way would be there is something called as active duplicate. So in this case, you are going to build your standby database. That is, you are going to build standby database using source database over the network. So what you are going to do is basically there is server A, primary, server B is where you are configuring the standby database, right? So you are going to use the network to build this database as a standby database. Okay, so this is how I am demonstrating the network in the notepad. So when you are trying to use source database to build your standby database, there are some prerequisites which you need to do using rman, and one such mandatory prerequisite would be that on standby database you need to have static listener configured for the auxiliary instance. Okay, now you may think what is the need of auxiliary instance, static listener for auxiliary instance, why can't it be done with the normal listener, right? So the answer would be when you want to remotely stop or start the database, you need to have static listener. So the common sense here is you are obviously building a standby database, so it involves multiple database restarts, as you would know, because initially the rman will start when you're using duplicate command. You'll be internally it will start multiple times. For example, it will first restore the sp file and then restart, then restore the controls file, and there are some multiple restarts involved. That is stop or start the database, right? So we are stopping or starting the database multiple times over the course of building the database using duplicate command. So hence when you are using active duplicate, there are multiple restarts involved, and this is being driven by the source side because that is the source of your data. So that is the driving factor here. Hence all the configuration files and backup data is coming from source primary database. So you would need static listener on the destination where standby database is being built, It is not standby database until it is fully built. So preliminarily, it is auxiliary instance which we are configuring at the start. So that's some information I would want to give before we go and discuss how to configure the static listener. Okay. So it is straightforward here. I have given the entry. Let's see how it works in real. Okay. I have my database server session ready. Let's load the INV. I will load my database. Probably go Oracle SID. Oracle home. Okay. Fine. Let me demonstrate how to configure static listener now. For that case, I'll just create a dummy p file, dummy pfile.ora. It could be anything, dummy file.ora. Okay, test. Now for this database, let's add the static entry. Okay, SID name would be test and DB name also would be test. And we'll add the Oracle home, which is 19C in our case. Before going further, we need to know where is our listener file located. Okay. In this case, my listener file on my server is located in the grid home location. Okay. So we'll go here. So I'm adding static entry. Adding static listener for active duplication of the database. Okay. You can add any use case. This would be helpful for other DBAs who are looking into the server in case of any issues. Okay. To build a standby database test. So there should not be any space at the start to the first line. Rest of the lines can be this way and it's not an issue. So the step would be to edit the listener.ora file and then you need to reload the listener. So in order to reload the listener, you need to identify where the listener is located. It's located in grid home, so hence I have loaded the environmental variables of grid home, that is ASM. So if you load OraInv using Oracle SID as ASM, it will load the correct values. If you see Oracle home, it is grid. Okay. Now there is a listener CTL file present in grid home as well. Reload. Okay. Now you can see our listener is the static listener is registered and it is showing up in the listener CTL status. Now going back to the DB home. Let me start the So next thing what I would like to show is how do we connect to this database using this static listener over a remote connection. Okay. In order to do that, I am bringing up the dummy instance in normal mode. So I have to give the p file temp I'm just finding the listener file. It's in the temp location. Okay, let me find it. While this is getting started, let's start another server through which I'll be making the connection. Or else I could do one more thing. I can try connecting from my local machine. So let me shut down this. Okay, there are multiple ways. Okay, while this is ready, let's create a password file with sys password so that over remote connection we can connect using sys user. So to do that, our password file equal to oracle home dbs or a password test. Okay, so file is required, rest of them are optional. Let's see, enter password for sys. Okay, let me give some complex password. Okay, so we have a password ready and the static listener is being configured and the database instance is up. Only thing left is we need to connect over this server and the database over the network. Okay, I have my IP ready. So let me pause here a bit. Okay, I have one more server ready which I'll be using to make the connection to the test database over the static listener. Okay, now coming to the standby database server, I'll be using the service name test. So you can see there are two status, one is unknown and one is blocked. Blocked because the database is in no mount mode. Okay, so when it is blocked we will not be able to use this service. So hence we have created the static listener which can be used to connect to this database and you can start or shut down the database. So I'll try to connect now. Sys at, let me take the IP. And this is the entry. Sorry, this is the port number I'll be using. This is the TCP port. It's unreachable. Ping. Let me telnet the port with Okay, everything sounds good. Let's try to connect to this port. Okay, give me a second while I fix this. Okay, I have fixed the error. Let me show you what I did. I checked the error and while some consulting, I got to know the issue. It's because of my special character in the sys password. I had used at symbol in the password, so it needs double quotes whenever we are entering the password in the prompt. Okay, coming back to the server. This is the primary server, and we are now trying to connect to the database which we just created a dummy database and using static listener entry. Okay, so the static entry has been created and the standby database name is test. So now let's I have created the TNS entry here, test DB. So it's in grid 2 and the service name is test. So this is the service we are going to connect using this. So sysAct test DB as this DBA. Now double quote password. Okay, I'll try to get both windows side by side. Now let's try to shut down this database remotely using this connection. Okay, sys context user env server host on dual. Okay, so this is the grid 2. So this operation is being done over the remote connection using static listener. So without static listener, this would not have been possible because in this particular scenario, the database is still in nascent stage. Okay, it's a no mount mode, and in no mount, your other services would be in blocked status. Okay, so you cannot connect to the service which is in blocked status. So the static listener is the only way. Once the database is in mount and open mode, then you can connect to the standard way using dynamic listener. Okay, now let's verify here. It's gone. Now let's try to bring it up again. We cannot because it's a remote connection and we need to specify the PFAN. Okay, so this is where my demonstration of static listener ends. Two important points would be, remember this entry. I'll put it up in the description, YouTube description. And most important thing is the SID name, whatever SID you are trying to give. So in this case, I had given Oracle SID as test, hence that would be the SID name here, and Oracle home location is the important one. And DB name, you can give whatever is present in this dummy file. Okay. These are the only things required to start up the database in no mount mode. Register to the static listener, and bang, you can go ahead with the active duplication with next steps. So I'll be covering that in my next video. Thank you all.